So, today I want to talk about Naruto, specifically the first 33 chapters. And I should clarify that everything I'm going to say about Naruto is going to be based on the mangas. So if there are any differences between the show and the manga, keep in mind that I wouldn't know. I watched the show while growing up, but I just watched Naruto and never Naruto Shippuden. Anyways, if you know nothing about the series and you think about picking it up, I would recommend you to read the first couple of chapters online and see if you like it. It's hard to give a spoiler-free summary for Naruto, but themes like following your dreams, ending the cycle of violence, having family and loved ones around you, and the importance of having those people around are constantly brought up over and over again. That's all I can tell you, and from now on my Naruto videos are going to be quite spoiler heavy, so be warned. Now let me give you a quick summary what happened in the first 33 chapters. After that I'm going to talk in detail about the things that I really liked. We are introduced to Naruto, whose biggest dream it is to become Hokage one day, because he wants to be loved and respected by his village. The reason why the village hates him in the first place is because the nine-tailed fox that attacked the village many years ago was sealed inside of him the day he was born. So yeah, it's totally reasonable to hate that child. Anyways, Naruto finally graduates the ninja school after many fails and now is on his way to become a real ninja. He gets sorted into Group 7 with Sakura and Sasuke as his teammates and Kakashi as his new teacher / group leader. Kakashi makes it clear what it really means to be a real ninja in the first day of training, and that they are a team, that they are supposed to act like a team. And after his students successfully pass the bell test, he tells them that they are now finally real ninjas. After a couple of side missions they had to do over the next days, Naruto finally snaps and argues around until they get their first real dangerous job. They had the mission to guard the bridge builder on his way back home to his village, but of course things get far more dangerous than they expected. The bridge builder wants to build a bridge in his village to fight against the poverty problem, because the bridge he wants to build would make trading far more easier for his people. But of course there's a rich, evil businessman named Gato who profits from that poverty, so he hires the two killers named Zabuza and Haku. They two fight against our Group 7, and after Haku is dead and Zabuza is finally beaten, Naruto has this big emotional speech that motivates Zabuza to switch sides and to kill Gato with his last breath. After the deed was done, Zabuza lays next to Haku's dead body and asks him for forgiveness before he then dies too. And that is basically the end of the first arc. The bridge was saved from Gato and the village was saved from Gato, the bridge was built and then named after Naruto, and then all Group 7 returned back to their village. Because it is the beginning, we are introduced to so many new people and the whole world Kishimoto created. So let's start off with the characters and what I think about them. I really love Naruto. There are many tragic moments in his life because he is just a lonely child who has to fight for any kind of attention. But that does not stop him from being a highly energetic and motivated person with a big dream. And then there's Iruka, his former ninja school teacher, who was the first one to believe into Naruto and show him any kind of love that he so desperately needed. Iruka had a huge effect on Naruto and the man he grew up to be. I really love Iruka. We learn that he grew up as an orphan too, but that his parents died because of the beast that attacked the village, but was then sealed inside of Naruto. And you would think that Iruka would have enough reasons to hate Naruto more than everyone else in the village. But he overcomes his pain and sees that Naruto is just an innocent boy who suffered a lot of injustice because of the circumstances he was born into. I really love him and I wish we could have seen far more from Iruka. I'm not sure what to think about the third Hokage, so I'm going to skip him and talk about his grandson instead. I like Konohamaru, but the problem is once the manga stops talking about him, I forget that he exists. But in general, there's nothing to complain about. He's a decent, small side character. When it comes to Sasuke, I know that he's a fan favorite, but I'm a little bit torn between liking him and not liking him. But I still enjoy the rivalry that is growing between him and Naruto. Sakura is unfortunately the one that gets the most hate from the fanbase. And I don't want to be one of those people who show an unreasonable amount of hate towards her, but I just wish we could have seen a bit more of her. When she was introduced, her whole personality was just having a crush on Sasuke and that's it. I can see that it was meant to be funny, but I just wish we could have seen a little bit more of her. I mean, I don't know, maybe a small hint that she likes medicine or that she is good at something. Like, I don't need Sakura to be the next overpowered fighting character in her group. We already have Naruto and Sasuke to play the tank or the damage dealer. I just would have wished to see Sakura do something and not just be the background character who always complains about how Naruto fights. But then we have Kakashi and I love him. I know that he was intentionally drawn to be Mr. Cool Guy, but I believe every second of it. I would really enjoy a manga series just based on Kakashi. I mean how calm he is, how self-confident he is. You just know that he is strong without him having to show it first. There's a lot to say about our first two antagonists. Zabuza presents himself as that big heartless demon, and once we learn about his childhood we understand why he acts like a killing machine in the first place. And in general he is just a badass with his giant sword and the way he intimidates his enemies. But Haku is different. He was more or less adopted by Zabuza, like he found him on the streets, homeless and lonely. But since then he's the right hand of Zabuza because he is quite a talented fighter. I would even say that he's stronger than Zabuza while he is still around the same age as Naruto. The whole story of the bridge builder and his family is really sad. Like the whole thing with Kaiser and Inari's relationship and how a man like Kaiser became a hero in the village and how Gato came along and destroyed it all. It's so easy to hate a person like Gato, and once justice gets served you get even more hyped. Which actually brings me to my favorite part of the whole arc. The end of the last fight where Haku sacrifices himself for Zabuza, but in the end Zabuza still loses to Kakashi. And then Gato appears and kicks the dead body of Haku, tells Zabuza that he does not need him anymore and that he has other people to kill the bridge builder. He literally bought a whole army. But that's the moment where Naruto just snaps because he can't believe that Zabuza would let someone disrespect the body of Haku like that. He shouts at Zabuza that Haku's death shouldn't mean nothing to him. After years of loyal service to the point where Haku's only dream and purpose in life it was to make Zabuza's dream come true. Zabuza was everything for Haku, and as heartbreaking as it sounds, and as much as Zabuza tries to act like a emotionless killing machine, he cares. He cares that Haku is dead, and we see how the mask of the heartless demon he wished he was just start to crumble. After that, Zabuza was done fighting our group, and the only goal that he had was to kill Gato with his last breath. I really get goosebumps every time I think about that moment. The way Zabuza tells Gato that they are not going where Haku went to, implying that Haku went to heaven, but that Zabuza and Gato are going to the deepest point of hell together. I just love that moment. And of course also that scene where Zabuza lays next to Haku's dead body and asks him for forgiveness while finally dying too. The whole first arc was just really emotional in my opinion, and that whole adventure had a huge effect on Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura, physically and mentally. But it also made clear that there's a strong feeling of rivalry growing between Naruto and Sasuke. I would have just wished to see Sakura more in action and not just be a background character. But as much as I have no complaint about her, I truly believe that the pacing of the show made her look far more worse than she actually is in the manga. I like the world Kishimoto created, especially the whole chakra magic system, but the one thing that I had to constantly think about is that they called themselves ninjas, but they're basically something like military, and when you see it like that, it's a bit weird that so many young children graduate a ninja school. I mean, they are really young, around the age of 12 or something, and at that point they already decided to take a military career path for themselves. Like, did they have other school options too, or did their parents choose a military career path for their children? Anyways, that's probably something you shouldn't think too hard about when you want to enjoy Naruto. Overall, I really liked the beginning and the first arc of the series. And that's all I had to say. I would love to hear your opinions, and thanks for watching. Ciao.